Online all the time at southernfm.com.au.
Pour yourself a coffee and pull up a seat. Join me, Lee Cummins, for Coffee Chat every Monday morning from 9 till 10 with a range of guests and a wide variety of music for you to enjoy your Monday morning coffee here on 88.3 Southern FM, Mondays 9 till 10.
Good morning. Welcome to Coffee Chat here on 88.3 Southern FM. And the time is 6 minutes past 9. And don't forget, you can check out the Southern FM website, which is southernfm.com.au. Or you can also check out the Coffee Chat website, coffeechat-fm.com. And you can find out all the details about the show and also the station on those two websites. This morning I have with me a lady who I think has a very hard job of helping people get organised and also be able to get out of procrastination and get themselves into organisation. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Lee. Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you on the program. And so you are a professional organiser that go in and assist people to actually get themselves back into organisation mode.
Absolutely, I am. Yep, I do. I work on both paperwork and on home organising and help people basically take control of their disorganisation and that overwhelm in easy and manageable steps.
That sounds good, the easy, manageable steps. Now, it is a fact that people make New Year's resolutions and they're very, very good at keeping those New Year's resolutions for the first month. That's if they're very good. Mm-hmm. And but it is a fact that by the 1st of March, those New Year's resolutions have completely gone. They're no longer, active in their mind. So they can get really motivated, and it might be to get organised at the beginning of the year, and because people generally, have a high motivation at the end of the year, but then they lose that momentum, particularly after a few weeks or a few months. So why do you think this happens?
I think for sure what actually happens is one of the top 3 resolutions is actually to get organised. So generally most people have that as one of their majors. And as you say, they don't stay. And the reason is that it's basically procrastination. And they just tend to put things off. And there's a number of reasons why. And the first, of course, is sheer overwhelm. Because they got all these great intentions of dealing with, their disorganisation or their piles of paper or their clutter. But once they see the size of the job and they have absolutely no idea where to start or begin, then they give up and they procrastinate and they find something else to do. It can be anything else, but they won't get on with the job at hand. And that big job, but I always say a huge job, a big job is really only a whole lot of little jobs put together. So if you just tackle one little area, one section at a time, it actually is doable. But procrastination is definitely the reason people, don't get on with those resolutions that they intend to do in the beginning of the year. And
it brings to mind an old saying, you can't eat an elephant in a day.
Exactly. Only one bite at a time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely.
So do you have any tips on how that we can actually try and beat that procrastination?
I do. I think that people need to the very first thing that they should do is tackle the worst thing first. I don't know if you've heard of the saying, eat the frog. And eat the frog was basically a saying that's been developed by Brian Tracy. He's a professional development guru. And he said that if you ate a live frog first thing every morning, anything else you tackled that day would be pretty simple and easy. So the idea is that the worst job should be done first, get it over with, and you'll be able to get on, with more other things in your day without that pressure or that sort of thing sitting on your shoulders all day, that you've got to get to do. So eat the frog is definitely a great concept, So if everybody could just put a little frog on their computer, a picture of one or a Freddo frog, somewhere on their desk, and make sure you eat that frog every day, you're already on your way.
That's a great tip, because I know that I generally put the worst thing last, which it makes sense get it out of the way, and then all the rest seems so easy.
Yep, everything else seems much more simple.
Yes.
Without the pressure. And as I mentioned before, breaking things down into manageable pieces. That is always the best way to deal with any huge job or any overwhelming situation, I would say. And one of my favorites is to make yourself accountable. And really what I mean by that is tell other people, family, friends, members, colleagues, tell them what you're planning to do. Tell them what those goals are, because if you do, they make you accountable, and tell them to ask you, how you're going and check up on you to make sure you get it done. And I heard quite an interesting thing, which was called a non-procrastination day, where you can actually find a friend and make a day where you just spend the whole day basically getting things done that you've been putting off for ages, whether it's taking something to the dry cleaner, whether it's, or to get mended, or whatever those things are. You can even meet for a coffee in the morning, write down your list, and even do it together and sort of go off for the day and get things done. So make yourself accountable to people. Definitely makes, a big difference. And the last one I would like to mention is to not interrupt yourself. Because what we tend to do is you start something, and then the ding of the email goes ding, and then, let me check who just sent me an email. Let me check that. Then you've lost track of where you are. So switch off the phone, switch off your emails just for that hour that you spend, or that time that you're spending on that particular job. Get it done, and then you can, go back to whatever else you're doing. And that way you get things done. I think I've told you before about my 8-minute blitz. And an 8-minute blitz is basically blitzes of time, because when you do things in blitzes of time, you get so much done in a small burst of time, and it actually can be quite fun. I mean, families use that as well. Like, I use that with my family. After dinner, it's an 8-minute blitz. The clock goes on, the timer goes on. We all run around, do what we need to do, get the place cleaned up, and it can actually be quite fun. And especially with young kids, you can make it cleaning up their toys, 8-minute blitz, see if they how many things they can put away, for example. So, yeah.
I have to say that I use a timer. I've got a timer in my office, and I set it for 15 minutes for me.
Yeah.
Yep. So 15 minutes, and I've got 15 minutes to check my emails. Once that buzzer goes off, I then have to start on my to-do list. Or, it might be 15 minutes to update Facebook or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
Timer goes off, that's it. And I've actually started to become more productive. Because I'm so conscious that I only have that short amount of time, 15 minutes, get it done, and then the next to-do list, it gets, that gets 15 minutes, and bang, bang, bang.
Exactly.
So,
and it's focused time, isn't it? So that's so much easier to do something when you focus on it for those 15 minutes, which is wonderful. So that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
You're on your way.
Yes, well, I have to say that happened from the last time you were in.
Excellent.
I talked about the 8-minute blitz. 8 minutes is not quite enough for me, so I've rejigged it to 15.
Perfect.
So, look, and it does work, and I have to say that every day now I put the timer on for 15 minutes and say, right, clean up the mess that I've made today, so that at least I'm starting a bit fresher the next morning.
Right.
Yes,
right.
So they're very good tips, thank you. Okay. Now, which area do you find that your clients have the procrastination the most of?
Oh, that would have to be paperwork. Have to be paperwork. Everybody has a problem with paperwork.
Yes.
Whether it's business paperwork, it's your household stuff that's coming in, basically any paper that comes into anyone's environment. Often the issue with paperwork that's coming in from postbox, etc., would be window envelopes, as I call them, which are bills, and people just don't like to deal with them, so they kind of dump them down and say, we'll get to that later, but unfortunately later never comes. And that's an issue. Until
you get a window that's got a red,
exactly,
a red note on it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
there's a red window, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, and you're right. Paperwork. You've got household paperwork. If you've got a business, you've got business paperwork. There might be, your superannuation paperwork. So there's lots of different paperwork that we've got to deal with on a daily basis. If you've got kids, you might have them coming to 2 different schools.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 different lots of paperwork. So it can actually be quite overwhelming, even if you don't have a business, because you've got so much coming in.
That's exactly what happens, and people just don't know how to deal with it. And if you don't have a system, a simple system to deal with your paper, which is lying around, that's where the problem is, because they don't know what to do with it. People are like, they've got piles and piles of stuff with absolutely no way of knowing where to put things and how to get them. When you have a situation in an office, paper's coming in. No matter what, it's coming in. You don't have a choice. It's coming in, it's coming in. And what you have to do is get it flowing through. And I say the flow through is the system that you need. And most importantly, it needs to go out. And that's out of your office environment, because it comes in and then constipates the office, full of paper. You've got to get it out of the office so that you don't have that problem with that. With that whole situation where you've got this paper clutter which is overwhelming you. And the same thing again, people walk in, they see their big piles of paper and they turn around and they walk out. And it becomes an issue.
And it's interesting, Sue, because we were told with the event of email and the internet that we would become a paperless society. But I find that we actually get probably more paper than we used to.
We do. And I think it is a bit of a myth, the paperless society. People started getting emails and then they start printing out the emails, for example, But I always say that you can go paperless. I mean, we can have less paper, but it'll never be paper-free. The situation is there's always going to be paper in our environment. And we can start going more paperless by scanning things in and making folders on your computer, etc. But, it's just always going to be, there's always going to be paper in our environments, and there's not much we can do about that. And people just have to, deal with it the way they want to. And some people are hard copy advocates, and I happen to be one of those. I really prefer hard copy, and others, prefer to do the stuff, on soft copy on their computers. But either way, all you need is a system to deal with it. A system like Paperflow basically teaches people how to deal with every piece of paper that comes into the environment and how to get it in, through, and flowing out of the office. And the system can be duplicated either on the computer or on the desk, and works perfectly, to take that overwhelm out. And it's just really simple, easy things. Some people may be doing already parts of it, but not the full system, and that's why the stuff is not getting out of the environment.
So this doesn't matter whether you're a mum that's looking after the household with a couple of kids at different schools, or even the same school but different years, or whether you're a home office business, or whether you're, running a coffee chat radio show, because even though it's on air, we still have paperwork coming through. So this can relate to anybody and any type of environment.
Absolutely anybody, because as you say, from the day you're born, your first piece of paper arrives on your birth certificate, and it never stops coming. And basically your paper is the history of your life, and it's coming in all the time. And every situation has paper. And small businesses actually are one of the ones that I find I often work with people who have small businesses, because they often start a new business all excited, a new consultancy or whatever, and they've got a lovely business at home, but they've got no administration background, so they don't really know how to deal with paper. So learning a system like Paperflow, it's simple, but it at least teaches them how to deal with the paper so they can focus on their business instead of focusing on the mess and the paper clutter. And the same for, even mums at home, they're dealing with the paperwork and the accounts at home. Same thing, let them just have, literally you should only be spending about an hour a week on paperwork, dealing with paper. And if you can get to that stage, it's fantastic, because you can get on with more important things like spending time with your family, or running your business, or focusing on getting new clients, for example. So, that's the answer, is to just have a system that works with the right tools.
Fantastic. We are in Coffee Chat, a radio show this morning with Sue Glasser, who is a professional organiser, and we're talking about how we can get out of procrastination and get our paper flowing, no matter what, whether you're a business, whether you're a mum, everybody has to deal with paperwork. So you've got some great tips, but have you got 2 tips that you can give us to get more organised with our paperwork?
I can. I do have many, but I have to, I think, to start off, the very first thing everybody needs to do is have a place for their paperwork to land. And what I mean by that is people often will pick up post from a post box, and whether this is a business or an individual or a mum, whoever, you pick it up, and I actually get quite excited when I go to my post box, because I always think maybe there'll be a nice surprise, a nice card, or maybe a check even. But most times, don't we? We go there and then there's these window envelopes and we think, oh, God, bills, so we pick them up and then we dump them somewhere. And that's why they don't get dealt with. So you need to bring bring your post in or any of your paperwork, and it needs to land in an in tray of some sort. And you keep that in tray somewhere where generally you tend to put your stuff. So it might be in your entrance hall, it may be in your office, and it could even just be on the counter in your kitchen. But either way, there's a place for it to land. And the whole family should know as well where that is kept. So if one of the kids comes in with a form from school, they put it in there for you because you'll be dealing with that in tray and that place for the paperwork to land. So that would be my very first tip for everybody. Get somewhere to put your paperwork every time. Just like you put your keys down in the same spot every day, put your paperwork down in the same spot every day. So that's first. And then the other main thing is that you have to deal with your paperwork on a regular basis. So it's kind of like making an appointment, and we don't miss an appointment when we make it with a doctor or a dentist or a school teacher interview, for example, or a client. We don't miss an appointment or procrastinate or not do it. We go there when we need to. So you set this time with your paperwork, schedule time a minimum of once a week to deal with your paperwork. And if you can do that, you're already going to be, taking a bit of control. So you'll be able to get through the paperwork and not get these piles and piles of paper that never get dealt with. So, yeah, I have many more, but those two I think would hopefully get people going.
Yes. So, everybody in the family knows that all the paperwork's going into that one in tray. Now, say child one comes home and they've got something that needs to be signed and sent back the next day. Are you saying to just do that once a week, or should be each day it gets cleared out?
Well, what will happen in an instance like that? I mean, if something's coming into your in tray, you shouldn't just put it down. Like, you need to look what's going in. So you should look at what's in the in tray every day. So if you're standing and opening your post, you throw away the envelope or recycle that, and then you look at it and you'll put it into your in tray, so you'll see what it is. So say, for example, it's a bill, so you know that's a bill. If you look in your in tray and you see that it's something from your child that needs to be done immediately, then you would need to action it straight away. What I say is it's a minimum of once a week that you need to do your in tray. So you need to make sure that at least once a week you're looking. Hopefully your child will tell you that it's urgent, or you will have a look and see that it has to be done. The paper flow system deals with everything like that, where everything has to go. And once you're checking, on a regular basis, you don't miss any deadlines. You don't have any late fees anymore. You don't not send the form in on time, or your documents out on time, or whatever the case might be, because you have got the system and you're checking it on a regular basis.
Now, this system could actually save you a lot of money, because I know that some of the telcos, they have that if you don't pay your bill on time, it's an extra, I don't know, $10 or $15. Yeah. So if you miss that each month, there's a lot of money that's just being wasted by not actioning that bill. There's a lot of electricity companies where if you pay on time, you get an added discount. Yeah. Yep. But if you don't, the discount is removed the following month or the following bill. So actually having these systems in place can save a household or a small business a lot of extra expense that are unnecessary.
Absolutely. And the thing is that's the things, when you are organised, there's the three major things. You've got the time that you're now going to save time because you're more organised, and definitely financially you're going to save money, especially on bills and things like that, because we've all been in that situation, because you haven't paid the bill, it's $15, and then you might forget again, that's another $15. It's just really because being disorganised. And of course the third thing is stress or emotional strain, so you can definitely save money. And if people, it's not that hard to be organised, and anybody can learn to be organised. It's not something you have to be born with. You can learn it as long as you've got a system to use. So keeping on top of it and doing it regularly, you won't have to lose any more money, waste any more money on it.
So have you always been organised?
No. I always like to say that, because people just assume, every professional organizer is perfectly organised, but no, I wasn't. I had certain areas in my life that were organised, and I actually came across the system and fell in love with it, and that's why I actually show people and teach people, because I think it's so amazing, the paper flow system, and that taught me to be more organised, and it's amazing. And since then, the more organised you get, the more you want to be. It's quite amazing. And even if it's just one drawer that you do and you see, hey, that looks great, then you want to go to the next drawer and you want to go to the next. So yeah, no, I wasn't, and but I am now. And And for me, being organised is not perfection. I don't believe it's perfection. Being organised is about being able to find what you need when you need it, and that's being organised. So you don't have to be perfectly tidy, and you don't have to be, no perfection comes into it. It's about finding what you need when you need it.
That sounds fantastic, and it sounds very doable.
It's totally doable.
Now, you have got a special offer that if you are offering a 15-minute free phone consultations for anybody that goes in and likes the Paper Clippo page on Facebook or leaves a comment on the Coffee Chat website under your interview, which we'll load up this week. So we'll hand out the details now. To simply go to Paper Clippo, that's PAPERCLIPPO, paperclippo.com.au, or go to the Facebook page under Paperclip Professional Organisers, and you will be eligible to go in the draw to win a 15-minute phone consultation with Sue, and she'll be able to give you some great tips in 15 minutes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And also look at whether having Sue come in might be a good opportunity.
Yeah, and also I'd like to just mention that I have a workshop coming up on Wednesday on paper flow, and at the workshop it's just a 2-hour workshop which basically goes through the system and explains to people from the moment they leave there they can be able to at least tackle their paperwork from the next piece of paper that comes into the environment. So on the website as well are all the details on my workshops, and I'd love to see everyone there.
And highly recommend. I've got a few friends that have been along to your workshop and highly recommend it. I have yet to go.
I'm looking forward to having you there.
Yes, I can't wait. So that website again is paperclippo.com.au, and don't forget you can also have a listen to this interview on coffeechat-fm.com. Leave a comment on there or go and like the Paperclip Professional Organisers page on Facebook, and you can go in the draw for a 15-minute phone consultation. So thank you so much.